My name's Helen, I'm the Diddy Stitcher, my pronouns are she, her. It is Thursday the 26th of October today. It's been a little while, I guess. 4 weeks since my last proper Flosstube, a week since my bonus birthday haul guest starring Imogen. But yeah, I feel out of practice. Let's pull a card first. Welcome if you're new. I like to pull a tarot card at the beginning of my video to kind of get a vibe of maybe where my stitching is going, maybe where your stitching is going. When I draw my card, I think about the collective stitchy community. Last video we pulled the Knight of Cups for feeling your emotions, and wasn't really to do with the stitching, but to do with the felling of Sycamore Gap tree. You all felt that emotion too. Thank you for those that shared and consoled me, and obviously lots of other people on that. But yeah, this week I pulled the 8 of Pentacles, which is much more to do with stitching. So this card, you see the spider weaving her web there. This is all about hard work and progress and like doing stuff that you love, but like going for it, doing the work, getting rewarded for it. And yeah, I'll talk about how this is relevant later, but yeah, I just love the artwork on this one. Very nice. Very nice. So we'll put her there. So what I'm loving, Imogen. I'm gonna drink my cup of tea while we talk, because it's very cold here today. It has just started absolutely pouring with rain. So I've got no natural light whatsoever. So I look a bit washed out. My stitching's not going to look great, but hey ho, let's just have a chat. So, Imogen came to visit. They came here for 3 days, and then they went to get a tattoo, and they've gone to London. But it was so nice having them here, and I think they had a nice time. They tell me they did. So if you're from Imogen's channel, welcome. I've had a few new subscribers, so if that's where you came from, let me know. If you came from somewhere else, let me know. But yeah, it was so good to see them in the flesh, finally meet them, and we just had the nicest time. We went to some castles, and we just like sat and stitched and talked about stitching, and they are just such a good friend. I am so lucky to like find these random people on the internet and then invite them to my house. That's the risk-taking ADHD bit of me. I'm just like, yeah, come and stay in my house with my husband and my child, and maybe you're not a murderer. They weren't a murderer. But yeah, I'm rambling. You know, and I could have been a murderer. They could have come here and been murdered. They don't know me from anyone. But yeah, it was just so nice. So yeah, I talked about all of the haul that they brought with them for my birthday, and like that was so nice. And it was nice like for them to get the haul and stuff, and it like obviously like my husband paid for it, but to like play with it and stuff. And then my husband was like, oh, so what did you get? And then asking about it, because he's quite into my stitching, even though he pretends he's not. He does know his fair share about stitching and about the Flosstube community. Like I said, last video, like he knows who Lindy Stitches is, and you know, lots of other people. He's like, oh, that's so and so. How is X project going with them? Or he's so nice. But yeah, loved the birthday haul. Loved Imogen. Still love Imogen. And I just can't wait till Stitch North now, because I get to see them and like so many other people. It's going to be like that 3 days times by however many people are going to Stitch North. I think I'm going to be overwhelmed, because I did have a little cry on the way home from dropping Imogen off at the train station, because it was just that your people, and I don't have like my people around here, like you're all in the internet, and it's nice to have real people to talk to. Yeah, I'm just gonna have a ramble to myself. So even though it's been 4 weeks, I've only stitched on 2 projects, and because they're like my have to get done projects. So first project, I'm going to try and put pictures in now of how it looked before. I'm going to try and get better at that, because I do really like that, and I've said that before, and I just hope that I pay attention to myself this time. So this is Raven, or let me show you the pattern. This is Raven by Yasmin's Made with Love. I want to say Handmade with Love, but it's just Made with Love. This is a digital mock-up of the pattern, and this is going to be the model stitch for Yasmin. So this is where I am. So I can't even remember what it looked like before, so I'll be surprised when I'm editing. But yeah, I have a lot. I know I've had a lot done. Fun story, last night I was stitching down this line, and I had lots of stuff done down here, and I needed to frog. I've got a little video of me frogging. I'm going to try and put it in here. Oh, the sound's probably really messed up because I'm like this close to the camera with my little overhead thing and my phone. So I'll try and edit that, but if it sounds awful, just bear with me, I'll just skip ahead. Hi everyone. Just while I'm sat here, I've got some lull time at work, so I thought I would get on frogging this out. You can see here I was stitching down here last night, and as I was getting closer and closer to this, I was like, it's not gonna match up, and sure enough, I'm 1 stitch out. This needs to be 1 stitch over. So after a big deep breath, I was counting and realized it was the mistake. This leaf is like 4 stitches wide, should be 5 stitches wide. So I have started to frog out this flower here, and I need to frog out these 2 flowers and this motif here as well. This all needs to be moved 1 stitch to the left and right. Luckily, all of these motifs were counted like from here or from the claw. So I know that all this is correct. That was my big deep breath of where have I gone wrong and how much is it going to affect. But luckily, it's just this kind of little section and the line up here. So I thought I would show you how I frog. This is what, maybe around about 500 stitches that I'm going to have to rip out. And I'm not going to be precious about the thread. It's just DMC 310. I've got plenty in my stash to replace it with. I don't need to worry about how it's going to look after. I can just snip it right out. So this might be helpful if you're in this position. Hopefully not. Don't wish this on anyone. But yeah, my first tip is breathe. You noticed an error. Just breathe. Step back. Maybe, like, I was just doing this before I was going to bed last night. So I was working up here, and then I think I was doing this motif, and then I'll pull the line down here. There's a couple more motifs here, and then just the fill-in of his body, and then I'll be done. And I was so excited to get it done that I was going to be on a little roll. I was going to stay up late, and possibly finish him today. But fate had other plans. So yeah, the first thing I would say would be step away. Step away from the project. If you're not even in the right mind to count or figure out where you might be going wrong, just leave it. Go to bed, go to work, go have a run, make a cup of tea. Because we don't want to frog in anger. We want to make sure exactly what we're frogging is right, and if we need to do any other fixes in the meantime. So for me, that's what I did. I was in a sound frame of mind to figure it out, because myself, I would it would bother me not knowing. Like, I've stayed up last night thinking about it, and so I needed to know. But I knew I wasn't going to frog, because we don't frog in anger. So what I did is, looking at the pattern, I did like a running stitch for every 10 stitches, and then matched it up with the pattern. And then, because I realized like this bit is going to be too short, because the top bit was fine. So this is where the issue was going to be. Along this whole bottom, it could have been anywhere in here. But yeah, I got to here and realized my blocks of 10 were off, and sure enough, this was the issue. This should have been 5 stitches. It was 4 stitches. Yeah, everything needs to be moved. So today I'm in fresh mind. I posted on Instagram because that always helps get it out, and people console you, and you get to laugh about it a little bit. So this morning I'm ripping it out, and then I'll possibly not even stitch on it today, because again, the anger is still there, and we don't want to stitch in anger, because your stitching holds your emotions. I know it does for me. Lots of stitching that I have in my house. I know what I was watching on the telly at the time that I was stitching that, what was going on in my life. Like, you stitch in your emotions to your stitching. And even though this is a model stitch for Yasmin, I don't want her to get the bad jujus. So we're not stitching in the anger. So I will rip this out. I'll put it away for a couple of days. I won't hit my self target of the end of October. Yasmin's target's the end of December, so I'm well ahead anyway. It's going to be absolutely fine. But yeah, I thought I'd show you how I go ahead and rip out big chunks like this. So the first thing when we come to actually frogging stuff out is, what's your tension like? My tension's quite loose. I like the puffy tension. So what I can do is, I've got some very thin, very sharp scissors. And literally what I do, don't have a heart attack, but what I'm going to do is get it in the camera and I'm going to snip. And I'm going to snip all of my X's. Now, if you're unsure about snipping that close to your fabric, like I say, my tension's quite loose, so I've got a bit of give that I can go under it. You can snip the top leg like that, and then come back and make sure you're just snipping the one leg like that. But for me, I've kind of got my eye in now. I've frogged the this flower out this morning, so I've got my eye in of where my tension is and how it looks. So yeah, I'm just gonna chop all this out, and it looks a bit messy, but we're gonna tidy it up. It's gonna be fine. But it just means that you don't have to chase back and forwards a thread that might, you know, sometimes when you're stitching, you don't know which way you've stitched, which path you've taken. Especially for me, when I complete my crosses. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but I'm trying to see it and get it in the camera as well. So that's that whole leaf. That's 20 stitches snipped. So then what I do is I go to the back. And this is the back of my stitching. And I take my needle and I just run my needle through those lines of stitching and I pull up, and it pulls each of those little threads through from the front to the back. It gives quite a satisfying pop as well. And you see these little fluffies are what you're gonna get. And this may seem like the messy part, but I find it quite satisfying, is you just pull them out. It's like plucking a chicken, I guess. I've never plucked a chicken in my life. And see, you got all of these fluffy bits and you just put them aside. You see I've got a few there. I could go back and try and pull them out. Yep, they loosen quite nicely. You can just pull. And this is a 28 count fabric, so the stitches are quite big, for me anyway. And then we just tidy up the ends. This is going to be the end of like the next, wherever I've gone next, whether I've gone into this leaf or I've gone up here, I can't remember. It's fine, you don't need to know that. And then, now this is quite dark thread, it's 310 obviously, on a relatively light fabric, and I've got a lint roller. Ooh, that's very close. A lint roller, and I just tap, and it gets all that shadow out, and I'm quite pleased with how that looks at the minute. And I know I'm going to stitch over it again in relatively the same place, so it's not going to matter too hugely, but because this is a model stitch for Yasmin, I want it to look as good as I can get it. But yeah, that's all I do. And then I can do the next leaf, or let's do this little berry thing, or whatever this is here. And my lighting isn't great today, so Try and do like 2 at a time, but don't. Again, don't frog in anger, because if you cut a hole in your fabric, then you've got a whole other issue on your hands. And I don't know how to fix that. So yeah, I think I've snipped all of the stitches in that, so I can flip it over, get my needle, just run it under. Generally, might take a little bit of persuasion. And then you've got a lovely little ball of fluff. All of those stitches were cut, which is great. Oh, I think there's one left. And that's going to go back to the back. You see that'll come up, that'll be attached here. That's fine. And there's not much of a shadow there, but we're gonna lint roller it anyway, just to get all those. The threads that you can't see, just like the fluff of it, that just gives it that shadow. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Do that with these 2 flowers and this big star thing here, and all of this right down to the corner. I'll do one more stitch and then I'll go right the way back up. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. Might not put this in at all. We'll see. Bye. So yeah, that is Raven. So it's all 310, and this is a 32 count. I think I said in that video that it was a 28 count. I lied, it's a 32 count. Even weave by Fabric Flair called Purple Potion. Very nice. So yeah, I'm gonna redo those flowers, do the little bat on, like, mirrored on that side, and fill him in. Even though I quite like him, like not filled in like that. I think because I just did the outline, so I would know. You know, I could just do mindless fill-in while watching TV. I think he looked quite cool like that. But yeah, anyway, I'll be doing that. So I said that I might put him away for a little while. I can still bust him out. It's still 5 days to the end of the month. And even if I don't send it off to Yasmin by the end of October, that's fine. It'll just be nice to be done. Because now I'm thinking about it, I don't want to put it away and then get it back out just to do what is relatively the last leg of the stitching. So after I filmed that video, Michelle Bendy had commented on the Instagram post that I did last night. And I had said, like, will I still get this finished by October? And she said, you absolutely will. So that's it. Like, I have to because Michelle said so. So yeah, model stitch for Raven. You know, it's work stitching, so it takes priority. And the other thing that I worked on, I didn't show this last time. This is Forest Path by Ink Circles. I'll try and put a nice picture in. This is Deanna's project, Darling and Whimsy, for our first Most Magnificent Ink Circles round robin that we were kind of late on with the first go round, and I've already signed up for the second round. So I'm just making work for myself. But this is how far I got. So, story with this. This is 18 count aged paper. Yep, by Colour and Cotton. And I hadn't used Colour and Cotton before. It's very nice. Terrible holding today. This section is Deanna's section, but you can see she didn't get to finish it before the send-off time. So this is my section. I'm kind of halfway through. But as I was starting, I noticed something was wrong. Like instantly my eye just went, no, that's not right. And so figured it out, took a deep breath, thought, because I didn't know what else it had affected and whether I should start or I shouldn't start. But it's just this reindeer is like too far this way. Needs to go one space, but it doesn't affect anything else. So I'd let Deanna know. I'd messaged her and just said, by the way, I think, and did you want me to finish your section? Because, you know, she had her reasons for not finishing it. She's going through whatever she's going through. She couldn't get it done. I've got some spare energy for that. So I was like, only if you want me to, because some people would be like, no, because I want to stitch that corner, because then I've got 4 people's corners. Some people, like, I didn't want this to get back to her and her section not be done when the other 3 of us in the group are going to get finished projects back to, like, you know, we could instantly frame or turn into a cushion or whatever we're going to do with it. That Deanna wouldn't have that if I left it, or, you know, we all didn't finish it for her. So with her blessing, I am finishing off the rest for her. I'll see how much I can get done. If not, when I pass it on to the next person in our group, I'll just say, can you just work on Deanna's bit a little bit too? And then, like, between the 3 of us, we'll get it done. But then Deanna will at least get a finished project when she gets it back, which we all will have. But yes, the project. So Deanna's done a lovely conversion to 4. That's our ticket to Newcastle Castle. It's the annual pass. I have to keep that somewhere safe. Anyway, to 4 cottage garden threads and a Brennan needle, which I hadn't used before. This is pirate glass. Lovely green. That's like the dark green in it. And then I love this conservatory green and this foxglove. And I think these are the 2 that were in the Hearts for Pam. So I have these now in my stash, which I'm very happy about because I was quite jealous. But now I have them. This is Butterbean. And this is Echo, which just looks lovely in those deers. Absolutely perfect. So these are the colours that Deanna picked out. And I, for one, absolutely love them. So yeah, it's an interesting pattern to do because you've got all like these swirlies and it's like, where shall I go? Like, what shall my path be? Very nice. So yeah, Deanna's done the same as I did, not to maybe the same extreme, but where it's just like there's one stitch that goes over into the next section, but it's just one stitch of one colour and it doesn't make sense to leave it. She's done that. So I'm doing it where it makes sense as well. This is where I didn't realise really how much tension comes into things. Deanna's tension is really tight. Like really tight. And I think that's the joy of doing these round robins, is that you get like the differences in how people stitch, whether they like the way that they cross their X's, their top leg lies differently to yours or whatever. So it's a lovely thing. But yeah, it's just so fascinating to see how other people stitch and to stitch on one project with them. I think it's lovely. And yeah, and then Deanna will have lots of room over here to do whatever she wants with. So yeah, that's coming on. I think we're due to send like at the end of December, maybe into the new year, so we miss like the holiday rush. And then in the new year, I'll be starting my next round robin. So I'll have two at the go at once. To have more like work stitching, because this is work stitching, because this has a deadline. So yeah, I've just been doing work stitching. I mean, it's still stitching. I still get to do my hobby. But I have been craving a full coverage piece. Me and Imogen were talking, and they were doing their travel project, was this like new blackwork thing that they were doing. I can't remember the designer off the top of my head. But that was fun watching Imogen's process with that as well. Because they started it here. I think they were going to try and start it at the airport, but they didn't manage it. And the way that they're making decisions about what colours to do and where to start, and making a mistake and then having to frog, like anyway, so yeah, we were talking about how, you know, they're working on their big Wheel of the Year like Haid project, full coverage. Basically they're taking the their background out, but basically it's full coverage. And I got really itchy feet or itchy hands to do my Moon and Stars full coverage, because I don't know when the last time I played with that was. So I think I'll get that out tonight. The baby's out tonight. So I haven't got anything out for tea, and Alex said that we can go to McDonald's. So I might just accept that offer of going to McDonald's and having a quick bite to eat, and then getting home and just doing a good few hours solid stitching on my Moon and Stars piece, because I'm really craving it. I think because like the Raven is like very Quaker sampley, lots of little motifs that I'm not terribly used to. I need that different type of stitching to cleanse my palette almost, and I think I'm still mad at it. So even though I've still got 5 days to finish it, I think tonight I'll get out my full coverage and itch that itch. So yeah, I just talked about plans and I didn't really mean to talk about that. The other thing that I was working on is my Notion, because since the last video, or just before the last video, Nathy came out with the tutorial that she had filmed with Michelle. And like, I know how to use Notion, but I was just waiting for Natty's guidance on like using her template. And you can buy her template, I'll link it down below. And she's constantly improving it. And like, she just added a bead database as well, so that's been really helpful. So yeah, I've been working on that. So when Imogen left, I threw my depression into sorting stuff out, because I had the rest of the week off work anyway. Anna was still at nursery and still seeing my dad, so I had I think I had like 30 hours child free to like tear everything out of my cupboard and put it in Notion, and I managed to do it. I was really, oh, my ears has just gone funny. Sorry, my ears just I don't know if it was like a pressure change or something, but all of a sudden like I couldn't hear a lot, and not quite tinnitus, but anyway, what was I saying? Notion. So yeah, I managed to get everything out and reorganize and have a clear out of some stuff that I didn't want, and like my fabric drawer was getting overwhelming for me, so I took everything out, and then I didn't get rid of, I've got like 18 count and 20 count and some waste canvas and stuff like that, and I didn't get rid of it, but I put it in a box rather than have it in my fabric drawer, because I don't use it a lot, but I might need it. So just stuff like that was really helpful. So I got all my whips in, I got my fabric stash and my floss stash, got all of that cottage garden threads in, and just seeing it like that, just realised like how much stash I do have. And also stuff like realising that I have other things, like I could sub a lot more stuff. I put all my DMC variations in there, and there's some really good colours in there that I should like be using more. I don't really look at, so I've got it in my like specialty floss now, and like, it's got its little tags of what colours it has in it. So if I'm looking for a variegated red, there's a DMC variation in there that's really nice, and I hadn't really like paid attention to it before, when I would probably reach for Red Currant by Classic Colourworks or something like that, you know. So even that process was really helpful. And yeah, so part of what Natty does in her Notion that I didn't have before is like your progress tracker. So I would take a picture every time I finished like my stitching session, and most of my projects have like a highlights in my stories on my Instagram, but not all. And I wasn't like counting my stitches or how far along my project was. So now I know like what percentage complete I am on most of my projects. Some of them I'm just not counting at all, because I don't need to do that calculation. It's fine. But definitely my full coverages, and definitely ones where I know this the designer gives the stitch count. I don't think I would sit there and count all the stitches on a project if the designer doesn't give it, or it's not in Pattern Keeper and Pattern Keeper tells you. But I'm finding it's not as much of a deal to count what stitches I have done. Like that's an okay thing. I thought it would be more of an issue for me, but it's not, or it hasn't been so far. So yeah, that's the other thing that I've been working on, because I have been, you know, I spent a good 2 solid days on it and then some. So I think I've just got my PDF stash to put in, because with that there was a lot of stuff in lots of different devices. Like I had some on my work computer where I would download it. Probably shouldn't do that. Some on my MacBook, and some on my phone for some reason, and some on my tablet where they're in Pattern Keeper. So organising that as well. I need to do that. And then again, like seeing how many patterns I've got access to. Not that I'm like gonna do it anytime soon, but thinking about like smalls exchanges for Stitch North, I'd gotten all my paper copies out and thought, I don't really have anything that would be relevant to do for a smalls exchange. I'm going to need to think of what to get. And actually, I've got loads of stuff in my PDFs. So that's been good. So I've got no haul, because I talked about my birthday haul last video and I haven't got anything else. But I wanted to say thank you for those that messaged about the kit that I got from my dad and what to do about that. And I think I've decided that when I come to do it, whenever that will be, I will change to like a 25 count even weave or something. Yeah, so I appreciate your feedback and experiences that you've had on that. That was really helpful. So I said about plans, I'm gonna work on my moon and stars, and then I think I'll keep Raven and Forest Path out just because they're like work projects. I don't know if there's anything else that I want to work on. Looking at everything that's not turned over, maybe I'll finish lesson 1 because it's a bit spooky. See, like Raven has been my spooky stitching, so I haven't really missed spooky. Like I don't do a lot, but lesson 1 kind of is. And I said there's not much left, but there's a lot of counting in that. There's a lot of blank space. So maybe I'll leave that one. And I'll pull out Moon and Stars because I definitely want to work on that, and I won't pressure myself to do anything else. The only thing I will pressure myself to do, Stitch for Pride. I fell off the bandwagon in May. I was gone. Dee gave us a little nudge to finish strong because, you know, they said, you know, people fall off the bandwagon. And I do, this is what I do. I fell off the bandwagon with Whip Go last year. It's just how I go in my cycles, but that's no excuse for not doing your learning. I'm not doing the stitching prompts usually unless they just happen to correspond with what I'm stitching on, but that's not the important thing here. The important thing is learning. So if you were doing Stitch for Pride and you fell off the bandwagon, consider this a nudge to get back on as well and do your learning. So I've got 5 months. 5 months to get caught up on, and then we're into November, and then I'll have November's to do. Yeah, that needs doing. That's priority. So I will update you with that next video. I don't think there was anything else. Oh yeah, I was going to talk about the Eight of Pentacles. So I'm gonna work on Raven until it's done, not put it away. I'm gonna carry on with the work, doing the productive work. Thank you, Michelle, for that nudge. Yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna go back to work and I will talk to you later. Okay, bye.